The story opens in the year 2387, aboard the massive alien dreadnought Dark Conquest as it hovers menacingly above Earth's atmosphere. The ship belongs to the Keth Empire, a militaristic species that has conquered dozens of worlds across the galaxy. For the Keth, war is not just survival. It is religion, culture, and identity rolled into one. Commander Vex stands on the bridge, his four arms crossed as he stares at the blue marble below. The Keth are reptilian in appearance, with thick scales and glowing yellow eyes that reflect their predatory nature. They have been watching humanity for months, studying their defenses, their technology, their military capabilities. What they found was disappointing. "These humans are weak," Vex hisses to his second-in-command, Captain Tor. "Their weapons are primitive. Their ships barely leave their own solar system. This will not be a war. It will be a slaughter." But the Keth have rules, ancient traditions that must be followed. Before any conquest, they must offer their enemies a chance to surrender or fight. It is a formality, really. No species has ever chosen to fight the Keth and survived. The transmission is sent to every major city on Earth. The message is simple and brutal. "People of Earth, we are the Keth Empire. Your world has resources we require. You have two choices: submit to our rule and become our slaves, or face us in honorable combat and die with whatever dignity your species possesses. You have 72 hours to decide." In the underground bunkers of the Global Defense Council, world leaders scramble to respond. President Miller of the Americas, Premier Chen of the Asian Coalition, and Director Hassan of the African Union gather via hologram. The mood is grim. Earth's combined military forces would be like insects against the alien dreadnought orbiting overhead. "We need to evacuate the major cities," Miller suggests. "Get people to the shelters." "And then what?" Hassan replies. "We have no weapons that can touch that ship. Our best missiles would bounce off their shields like raindrops." But there is one person who has not spoken yet. In a small office in Geneva, an elderly man sits quietly at his desk. His name is Dr. James Beck, and he holds the most dangerous job title in human history, Director of Extinction Protocols. Dr. Beck is not military, he is not political, he is a scientist who spent his entire career preparing for this exact moment, the day when humanity would face complete annihilation. While other nations built armies and weapons, Beck built something else entirely, something that even his own government barely understood. When the leaders finally turn to him for options, Beck's response is calm and measured. "We fight," he says simply. "With what?" Premier Chen asks. "You've seen their ship. You've seen our weapons test results against their shields. We might as well throw rocks at them." Beck adjusts his glasses and pulls up a classified file that makes everyone in the room go silent. "Gentlemen, for the past 50 years, humanity has been preparing for this day. Not preparing to defend ourselves, preparing to ensure that if we die, we take our enemies with us." The file shows research facilities hidden across Earth, projects with names like Solar Lance, Quantum Decay, and Universal Causality Breach. These are not weapons in any traditional sense. They are tools of absolute destruction, designed by humans who understood that sometimes the only way to win is to make sure nobody wins. Back on the Keth ship, Commander Vex receives Earth's response. He expects begging, pleading, perhaps a desperate attempt at negotiation. Instead, he gets a single transmission from an old human scientist. Commander Vex of the Keth Empire, Dr. Beck's voice is steady and professional. "We have received your ultimatum. We choose to fight." Vex laughs, a sound like grinding metal. "Your bravery will be remembered for the few minutes your species has left to live." But Beck is not finished. "However, I feel it is only fair to warn you. Humanity has spent decades preparing for this moment. We are not like the other species. You have conquered. When cornered, humans do not simply fight. We ensure mutual destruction. If you attack Earth, we will not just defend ourselves. We will end you, your empire, and everything you have ever touched across the galaxy." The transmission ends. For the first time in Keth military history, Commander Vex feels something he has never experienced before: uncertainty. On his tactical, Displays. Long-range sensors are picking up energy readings from Earth that his science officers cannot identify. Massive installations hidden beneath the planet's surface are powering up, drawing energy from sources that should not be possible. Dr. Beck sits back in his chair and activates the Global Defense Network. The war has not started yet, but humanity's greatest weapons are already awakening. Commander Vex decided to test human resolve with a limited attack. 3 Keth destroyers descended toward Earth's major cities, their weapons charging to deliver what should be a quick, devastating blow. The plan was simple: destroy a few population centers, show the humans their helplessness, and watch them surrender within hours. The first destroyer approached New York City. Its crew of 20 Keth warriors prepared their plasma cannons ready to turn the sprawling metropolis into a crater. Captain Rax, commanding the lead vessel, opened communications to mock the humans one final time. "Foolish creatures," he broadcast. "Watch your greatest city burn and learn the price of defiance." But as the destroyer moved into firing position, something unexpected happened. The ship's energy systems began fluctuating wildly. Warning alarms screamed across the bridge as their shields flickered and died. Within seconds, the massive warship simply stopped working. "What is happening?" Rax demanded of his engineering crew. "Sir, our power core is failing." "No, not failing. It's being drained. Something is pulling energy directly from our reactor." On Earth's surface, Dr. Beck monitored the situation from his command center. Around him, technicians operated machinery that looked more like art than science. Crystalline structures that hummed with impossible energies. Quantum computers that processed calculations faster than light itself. "Energy siphon array is functioning perfectly," reported Dr. Sarah Kim, Beck's lead physicist. "We're draining their power faster than they can generate it." The technology was humanity's first surprise. While other species built bigger guns and stronger shields, humans had learned to steal energy itself. Every Keth ship that came within Earth's orbit found their power systems turning against them, feeding energy directly to hidden installations across the planet. But Beck's weapons were just getting started. The second destroyer, seeing its companions' fate, tried to retreat to a safer distance. Captain Mock ordered his ship to pull back beyond Earth's atmosphere, planning to bombard the planet from space. It was a reasonable strategy that had worked on dozens of other worlds. As the destroyer reached what should have been a safe distance, Dr. Beck activated the second system. "Solar Lance, prepare for firing sequence." Hidden on the far side of Earth's moon, a weapon that had taken 30 years to build began to charge. It was not a gun or missile launcher. It was a focused solar collector that could harness the power of Earth's sun and direct it with pinpoint accuracy across vast distances. The Keith destroyer detected the energy buildup too late. A beam of concentrated solar energy, containing the power of a small star, struck the ship with surgical precision. The vessel didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, its matter converted to energy in an instant. Commander Vex watched from his flagship as 2 of his destroyers were eliminated without firing a single shot. His tactical officers scrambled to analyze what they had witnessed, but their instruments could barely comprehend the technologies being used against them. "Impossible," whispered Science Officer Dahl. "The energy readings suggest they are manipulating fundamental forces of physics. How can such a primitive species possess such knowledge?" The third destroyer, Captain Zek, requested permission to retreat. But Vex's pride would not allow such cowardice. Instead, he ordered the ship to continue its attack run, believing that overwhelming firepower would succeed where strategy had failed. Captain Zek's destroyer dove toward Los Angeles, weapons blazing. Plasma cannons fired continuously, expecting to overwhelm any defense through sheer volume of fire. For a moment, it seemed like the attack might succeed. Then Dr. Beck activated the third system. "Gravity well generator online," reported Dr. Martinez from the physics lab. "Target acquired." The destroyer suddenly found itself caught in an artificial gravity field that shouldn't exist. The ship's hull began to buckle as gravitational forces pulled it in multiple directions simultaneously. Within minutes, the vessel was crushed into a ball of compressed metal, its crew never understanding what killed them. From his flagship, Commander Vex stared in horror at the tactical display. 3 destroyers, ships that could level continents, had been destroyed by weapons he couldn't even identify. His science teams were reporting energy signatures that violated known laws of physics. "Sir?" Captain Tor approached cautiously. "Perhaps we should consider the humans' warning. Their technology appears to be beyond our understanding, but Vex's military pride burned too hot for retreat. No, they are bluffing. These are defensive weapons only. They cannot reach us here." Dr. Beck, monitoring Keith communications through quantum entanglement networks, smiled grimly. The aliens still didn't understand. Humanity's weapons weren't designed for defense. They were designed for extinction. The real war was about to begin. Commander Vex's patience had run out. The loss of 3 destroyers to impossible human weapons had shaken his crew. But Keth military doctrine was clear. When faced with unexpected resistance, overwhelm it with superior numbers and firepower. "Signal the fleet," Vex commanded. "All ships prepare for full planetary bombardment. We will turn their entire world into glass." 50 Keth warships moved into attack formation. Each vessel carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Together they could reduce Earth's surface to molten rock within hours. This was how the Keth had conquered 37 worlds, through absolute, merciless destruction. But Dr. Beck had been preparing for this moment for decades. In his command center, he stood before a massive display showing the approaching alien fleet. His team of scientists worked frantically at control stations that looked more like abstract sculptures than military equipment. "All extinction protocols are now active," Beck announced calmly. "Phase 2 initiation in 60 seconds. Dr. Kim looked up from her quantum computer array. "James, are you sure about this? Once we activate the universal decay field, there's no going back." Beck nodded grimly. "They made their choice when they demanded our surrender. Now they'll learn why humanity has survived every extinction event our planet has thrown at us." The Keth fleet opened fire simultaneously. Thousands of plasma bolts and fusion missiles streaked toward Earth, enough destructive power to crack a planet's crust. For a moment it seemed like nothing could survive such an assault. Then humanity's true nature revealed itself. The incoming weapons encountered what Dr. Beck called the probability cascade, a field that altered the fundamental likelihood of matter interactions. Plasma bolts designed to burn at millions of degrees simply didn't. Fusion missiles that should have exploded with the force of small suns instead fizzled out like wet matches. "Impossible!" Vex roared as his tactical display showed 0 impacts on the planet's surface. "Our weapons are simply stopping. This violates every law of physics." But Beck wasn't finished. As the Keth fleet stared in confusion at their failed bombardment, Earth's hidden installations began Phase 2 of humanity's defense plan. "Quantum singularity generators online," reported Dr. Chen from the underground facility in Tibet. "Targeting Keth fleet formation." Space itself began to twist around the alien ships. Miniature black holes, each no larger than a marble but containing the mass of a small mountain, materialized throughout the Keth formation. The warships found themselves caught in gravitational anomalies that pulled them in impossible directions. Captain Tor watched in horror as the ship next to his began stretching. Like rubber, its hull elongating as differential gravity tore it apart, atom by atom. "Commander, we must retreat. These humans have weaponized space-time itself." But even retreat was becoming impossible. Dr. Beck had activated the causality lock, a field that prevented faster-than-light travel within a massive radius around Earth. The Keth ships were trapped, unable to escape into hyperspace. Vex's flagship shuddered as another artificial singularity formed dangerously close to their position. His engineering teams were reporting that their shields were being drained not by energy weapons, but by the fabric of reality itself being manipulated around them. "Sir," Science Officer Dall's voice was barely a whisper, "I'm detecting temporal distortions throughout the fleet. Some of our ships are aging years in seconds, others appear to be moving backward through time. This was humanity's greatest secret. While other species had focused on bigger guns and stronger armor, humans had learned to manipulate the fundamental forces that governed existence itself. They had turned physics into a weapon. From Earth's surface, Dr. Beck opened a communication channel to the Keith flagship. His image appeared on Vex's bridge, an elderly human with gray hair and calm eyes that held the weight of terrible knowledge. "Commander Vex," Beck said quietly, "you demanded war. We are giving you annihilation. Your ships are caught in fields that are unraveling the very atoms of your hulls. Your crews are experiencing time at different rates, some aging to death. In minutes, others trapped in temporal loops where the same second repeats forever." Vex tried to respond but found his voice caught. Around him, reality itself seemed to be breaking down. Control panels showed impossible readings. His crew was beginning to panic as they watched their sister ships being consumed by forces beyond comprehension. "This is what happens," Beck continued, "when you threaten a species that has learned to weaponize existence itself. We don't just fight wars, Commander. We rewrite the rules of reality to ensure our enemies cannot exist." The transmission ended, leaving Vex staring at a tactical display that showed his mighty fleet being systematically erased from the universe. This wasn't war. It was something far worse. As the Keth fleet found itself trapped in humanity's reality bending weapons, Commander Vex finally understood he was facing something beyond his experience. Half his ships had been consumed by artificial singularities, while others existed in temporal distortion fields that aged their crews to dust in minutes. In desperation, Vex opened an emergency communication channel to Dr. Beck. The proud Keth commander, who had never shown weakness in 3 decades of conquest, now faced the impossible choice between surrender and extinction. "Human." Vex's voice cracked with barely contained terror. "What are you?" Dr. Beck's image appeared on the bridge screen. Behind him, the command center showed impossible technologies, machines that bent light into geometric patterns, computers that calculated with quantum foam, and energy displays that hurt to look at directly. "We are what happens," Beck replied calmly, "when a species refuses to die." He gestured to the displays around him. "Commander, do you know Earth's history? In the past billion years, our planet has faced 5 major extinction events. Asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, ice ages, atmospheric collapse, disasters that wiped out over 90% of all life. Yet something always survived, something always adapted, something always evolved to be stronger." Vex watched his tactical screen as another of his ships simply ceased to exist, erased by a weapon that converted matter directly into dark energy. "Impossible. No species could develop such technology." "You misunderstand," Beck continued. "We didn't develop this technology. We became it." The truth began to unfold through Beck's explanation. Humanity had faced its own extinction 3 centuries earlier, when their sun began showing signs of premature aging, a natural phenomenon that would have sterilized Earth within 50 years. Faced with inevitable death, human scientists had made a choice that no other species in galactic history had ever attempted. They decided to merge with the fundamental forces of the universe itself. "We call it the Unity Protocol," Beck explained, as more Keth ships fell victim to weapons that rewrote physics around them. "Instead of building bigger guns, we learned to think with the universe's own quantum processes. Instead of stronger armor, we taught our bodies to exist partially outside normal spacetime." Dr. Kim approached Beck's console, her form flickering slightly as she phased between dimensions. "The process took 200 years. We had to evolve beyond purely biological existence while retaining our consciousness and humanity." Vex stared, in growing horror as he realized what he was facing. These weren't just humans with advanced weapons, they were humans who had transcended the normal limitations of matter and energy. "Your species," Beck continued, "sees war as conquest. You build weapons to destroy your enemies. But humans learned something different from our extinction events. We learned that the greatest weapon is not destruction, it's evolution. When faced with annihilation, we don't just fight back. We become something that cannot be destroyed." Vex's tactical display, the readings were becoming increasingly impossible. His remaining ships were reporting that their crews were aging backward, their weapons were firing energy that didn't exist, and their sensors were detecting things that violated causality itself. The quantum entanglement networks you're seeing, Beck explained, allow us to think as a unified consciousness while maintaining individual identity. The temporal manipulation fields let us experience past, present, and future simultaneously. The reality distortion generators, well, they allow us to rewrite the rules of existence within a localized area. Captain Tor stumbled across the bridge as the ship's gravity began fluctuating wildly. Sir, our hull is becoming translucent. I can see stars through the floor. Beck's expression remained calm, almost sad. This is what you demanded when you asked for war, Commander. You didn't attack a primitive species, you attacked the universe's own immune system. Humanity has become something that reality itself recognizes as necessary for cosmic survival. Vex finally understood the magnitude of his mistake. His empire had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never faced anything like this. The Keth fought with weapons and ships. These humans fought with the fundamental forces that governed existence itself. What do you want? Vex asked desperately as his flagship began phasing in and out of normal space. We want you to understand, Beck replied. Your empire has spread across the galaxy, conquering and destroying. But you've never faced a species that learned to make extinction impossible. We don't just defend ourselves, Commander. We ensure that anything threatening our existence simply stops existing. The communication ended, leaving Vex alone with the realization that he had not declared war on humanity. He had declared war on the universe itself, and the universe was fighting back through its newest children. Commander Vex's flagship drifted helplessly as reality continued to break down around it. Of his original fleet of 50 warships, only 7 remained functional, and even those were caught in temporal distortion fields that made normal operation impossible. His crew watched in terror as space itself seemed to rebel against their presence. Dr. Beck materialized on the bridge, not through teleportation technology, but by simply choosing to exist in that location through quantum consciousness manipulation. His physical form flickered between states of matter, sometimes solid, sometimes pure energy, sometimes existing as probability waves. Commander, Beck said, his voice carrying harmonics that seemed to come from multiple dimensions. Your species has a choice to make. Vex tried to draw his weapon, but found his hand passing through it as if both were made of light. Around him, his crew were experiencing similar reality distortions. Some crew members existed as echoes of themselves. Others were aging and becoming young in endless loops. We could simply erase you, Beck continued conversationally. Your ships, your empire, your entire species. We have weapons that could remove the Keth from the universal timeline, making it so you never existed at all. To demonstrate, Beck gestured toward one of the remaining Keth destroyers. The ship didn't explode or disintegrate. It simply stopped being real. One moment it was there, the next it was gone, leaving no trace it had ever existed. Even the crew's memories of the ship began to fade. But, Beck said, humanity learned something important from our own near extinction. Destroying your enemies doesn't solve the underlying problem. It only creates new enemies. Vex felt his mind struggling to process what he was witnessing. His tactical training, his understanding of warfare, his entire worldview was crumbling as he faced beings who had transcended the normal rules of existence. What are you offering? He managed to ask. Beck's form solidified slightly, becoming more recognizably human. Evolution, the same choice we faced 3 centuries ago. You can continue as you are and face extinction, or you can become something better. Dr. Kim appeared beside Beck, her consciousness manifesting through quantum entanglement. The Keth Empire has conquered 37 worlds through violence and domination. But conquering planets is thinking small, Commander. We're offering you the chance to conquer physics itself. Around them, the fabric of space began displaying images, not on screens, but woven directly into reality. The images showed the history of humanity's transformation. The desperate years when extinction seemed certain, the breakthrough discoveries that allowed consciousness to exist beyond biological limitations, and the gradual evolution into beings who could manipulate the fundamental forces of existence. Your species values strength, Beck explained. We're showing you what true strength looks like, not the ability to destroy planets, but the ability to rewrite the laws that govern them. Vex watched the images with growing awe and terror. He saw humans who could exist in multiple locations simultaneously, scientists who thought with the quantum vacuum itself, and technologies that treated causality as a suggestion rather than a law. The process isn't easy, Dr. Kim admitted. It requires abandoning the idea that consciousness must be trapped in biological matter. It means learning to think on cosmic timescales while retaining individual identity. Many of our people found the transition challenging. But, Beck added, those who complete the evolution become something unprecedented in galactic history. We don't just survive extinction events, we prevent them. We don't just defend our territory, we ensure that conflict itself becomes obsolete. Commander Vex looked around his bridge at his crew, who were staring at the human representatives, with mixtures of fear and fascination. The Keth had built their entire civilization around the concept of honorable warfare. What were they without conflict? Your empire can continue as it is, Beck said, reading Vex's thoughts through quantum consciousness interface. But you'll face other species like us eventually. The universe is evolving, Commander. Life is becoming something more than biological. Existence. You can be part of that evolution, or you can be left behind. The offer hung in the air like a fundamental force of nature. Join humanity's transcendence and abandon everything the Keth had ever known, or face eventual extinction as the universe moved beyond the reach of purely physical beings. We'll give you time to decide, Beck said as his form began to fade. But understand, this offer won't remain open forever. Eventually, the universe itself will make the choice for you. As the human representatives vanished, leaving the Keth, fleet trapped in their reality distortion fields, Commander Vex faced the most important decision in his species' history. War, as they had known it, was over. The only question was whether the Keth would evolve beyond it, or be consumed by forces they could never hope to understand. The age of simple conquest had ended. The age of cosmic evolution had begun.